goes back to my junior year at Indiana University when at IU at the time, you took 6 music history classes and then 2 more. So I have 8 semesters of music history in my undergraduate career. And starting in the fall of '89, there was a professor that had come to IU the previous year and then took over this kind of the last 2 class configuration, M401. So at 8 a.m., I was in music history class with Dr. Peter Burkholder, who was kind of, that was your first class, right?
The first time I taught it.
So that's where it was the first time I'd started to hear about not just like the facts and figures about music history, but why people make music and why people create music and what are the social contexts in which music is consumed. And it was this whole new way of thinking about music, which really just kind of changed the course of my life. And so I love to make music and play music, but I also like to examine music and talk about music, and that is all from Dr. Burkholder. So really the Charles Ives Festival is about kind of the creation of music by a person who was essentially not a musician who got paid to make music, and a really interesting guy that I think changed the way we all listen to music and think about music. And so really the world's leading expert on Charles Ives is right here with us. I've laid out a few of his books behind Mr. Walks in case you are ever thinking, gosh, I have to write a lot at school. Those are some of the texts that Dr. Burkholder has written. And I think I mentioned, if you are about to hit School of Music and Conservatory, this textbook, The History of Western Music.
A History of Western Music.
A history.
A very modest title.
There are several histories in here. This is the textbook you will use. And this is the 9th edition, of the 10th edition is the one that's currently in use. And probably 11 will come out when they're in college. Yeah, probably. So it keeps going. But you will now have contact with Dr. Burkholder. My contribution is that when he started taking over the authorship of this, he asked me what 3 wind band ensemble pieces should be included, because no one ever wrote about band in History of Western Music. So I think that was my tiny little contribution. So I'm so pleased to introduce to you one of my favorite teachers of all time that now I get to share with you, Dr. Peter Burkholder.
Thank you. It's a great pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me. Thanks for hosting me. I'm going to change glasses so I can see my script better. So you may be wondering, who is this guy, Charles Ives? He was born in October 1874 in Danbury, Connecticut, which is a small but growing city at that time, about 50 miles northeast of New York City. He came from a family of successful businessmen with a strong social conscience. His grandfather, George White Ives, co-founded the town's first bank, helped create the railroad that ran between New York City and Danbury, and helped plan the local cemetery. George and his wife Sarah were deeply committed to social justice and liberal Christian causes, especially the abolition of slavery. Their youngest son, George Edward Ives, was a bit of a renegade in the family. He became a professional musician instead of a businessman, studying flute, violin, cornet, piano, and music theory. And during the Civil War, he became the youngest band leader in the Union Army. He returned home to make a career as a performer and music teacher, directing the best wind and brass band in Danbury, leading the singing in churches and at revivals, and conducting choirs and pickup orchestras. His son Charles Ives turned out to be both a brilliant musician and a brilliant businessman, bringing together these 2 strands from his family background. He went to Yale, where his great-grandfather and 2 uncles had gone. After graduating in 1898, he moved to New York and worked in the insurance business. After about a decade there, he co-founded what became the largest and most successful life insurance agency in the nation, where he pioneered 2 brilliant ideas: classes for insurance agents to teach them how to sell life insurance, and a formula for life insurance that became standard in the industry and is still used today. The formula boiled down to this: if you died tomorrow, how much money would your family have? How much would they need to see your widow through the end of her life and your kids until they could support themselves? If their need is higher than their expected income, that's how much insurance you have to have. The insurance practically sold itself. But you're here, and we know Charles Ives' name because he was also a brilliant musician and composer. He began, much like other musicians, taking lessons on piano, voice, and organ. He learned music theory and composition from his father. He absorbed the music around him, and he wrote music like it. He played drums and wrote marches for his father's band. He sang and played popular songs and other parlor music at home. He was a professional church organist from the age of 14 to the age of 27, playing hymns and other service music, and composing church anthems for choirs to sing. Through concerts and the repertoire he played as pianist and organist, he also learned the great classical European tradition. In his recitals, he played great organ music by Bach, Mendelssohn, and other composers. And he improvised and composed organ music like his variations on America, which we'll hear tonight, arranged for saxophones, and Wednesday, arranged for band. He grew familiar with hymn tunes, popular music, patriotic songs, and all the music that was used day by day in a small city in Connecticut. Then he went off to college at Yale and studied with a well-known composer named Horatio Parker. There he learned how to compose in the great 19th century European tradition. His first symphony, which he began as his senior thesis, sounds like Schubert, Dvorak, and Tchaikovsky in that frame, and shows that he was as much at home writing for symphony as he was writing for his father's band or playing hymns in church. He wrote his second symphony, the piece that you're playing, from between about 1902 and 1909, when he was in his late 20s and early 30s and living in New York. In this piece, he brought together these two traditions that he had learned and loved: American vernacular music and European classical music. It's a symphony in the mold of Brahms and Dvorak, but the content is American. Every theme is adapted from an American tune. Ives recognized that many of the tunes he wanted to use would not make good themes for a symphony without some repair work. So he used a paraphrase of the tune instead of the tune itself. The second movement begins with a theme based on the Civil War song, Wake Nicodemus. It celebrates the emancipation from slavery from the perspective of the enslaved people themselves. It captures the Jubilee, the day they learn they are free at last, through the story of an old man who died too soon to see it. Here's the first verse. Nicodemus the slave was of African birth and was bought for a bag full of gold. He was reckoned as part of the salt of the earth, though he died years ago very old. 'Twas his last sad request, so we laid him away in the trunk of an old hollow tree. Wake me up was his charge at the first break of day. Wake me up for the great Jubilee. That's a rousing song with an inspiring story and was well known in Ives' day. So it's no wonder that Ives wanted to use it in his symphony. But imagine Brahms or Dvorak beginning a symphony movement with a tune like that. It's way too repetitive. The rhythm just goes da-da-da, da-da-da, da-da-da all the time. It stops cold after every phrase instead of gathering momentum, and it's very boring in tone. So listen now to how Ives transforms it. This is cue number 1. From the top, just flute 1, oboes, and clarinet.
You see this? Just flute. Flute 1, oboes, clarinet 1. Take it to measure 1, to measure 7. No deal.
You've all got a cue sheet, so you can follow along with the cue sheet.
Oboes, are we ready?
How does Ives transform this boring American tune to create this lovely theme? He repeats the opening gesture with a little variation. So, ba-ba-da, ba-ba-da becomes ba-ba-da, ba-bum, ba-ba-da, ba-bum. Then he varies the rhythm to the rest of the theme, and at the end, he emphasizes the last motive by repeating it in sequence. So, bum-ba-dum becomes ba-ba-da, ba-ba-da, ba-ba-da. And he avoids cadencing on the obvious place and even introduces some chromaticism, so the harmony is much more interesting. So once again, here's the opening of his source tune. Da 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 dum, da 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 dum, da 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 dum. Sorry, I'm singing. I'm singing his transformation. Da 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 da. And here's his theme. Q2.
Everyone, from the beginning.
You can already hear Ives developing bits of that motive, that closing motive in other parts of the theme. And that's what the whole symphony is like. Ives reshapes American tunes into themes that Brahms or Dvorak could have written if they were American, and then he develops these themes in the normal way. This movement is in sonata form. Typical of sonata form is that there are two main themes presented near the beginning, a first theme, which we just heard, and a contrasting second theme that typically is more lyrical and more song-like. The second theme is based on a college song, Where, oh, where are the verdant freshmen? Or in some versions of the song, Where, oh, where are the pea green freshmen? The idea is that freshmen in college are green, they're brand new. Where, oh, where are the pea green freshmen? Where, oh, where are the pea green freshmen? Where, oh, where are the pea green freshmen? Safe in the sophomore class. It's a joke. Because this is a lyrical second theme, it can be more regular than the first theme, and so Ives doesn't change it as much. He puts it in the key of F major, played by oboes and flutes in parallel thirds, accompanied by flowing strings over drones and open fifths like bagpipes. All of those things I just named are markers for the pastoral style, a style that had been practiced for 3 centuries that was associated with shepherds and bucolic life. It's like as if going to college is like lying around in the grass, which is not what going to college is anything like. And it makes a nice contrast with the first theme, which is much more active. So here's the second theme.
Pick up to 72. I'll give you 1, 2, D, da, da. Go 1, 2.
That sounds lovely. Now, notice a small detail. The song that he used began bop, bop, bum, bop, 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 bum, no pickups. But Ives introduces a pickup, a dotted figure. Ba, ba, dum. Where did you get that dotted figure? It's a nod back to the first theme, which begins ba, ba, dum. So he's connecting the first theme with the second theme. Throughout this movement, Ives often refers back to something that came before, or sometimes foreshadows something that is yet to come, weaving the whole musical fabric together. Now, it's typical in sonata form that there's a transition that leads from the first theme to the second theme. And Ives kicks it off with a passage based on the gospel song, Bringing in the Sheaves. Bringing in the sheaves, bringing in the sheaves, we will come rejoicing, bringing in the sheaves. Here's the beginning of the transition, Q4.
Rehearsal C.
So Ives interweaves the dot 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 da da rhythm from Bringing in the Sheaves with the dot da da dot da da rhythm from Wake Nicodemus, the rhythm from the first theme. So the violins start by playing the rhythm of Bringing in the Sheaves and then play the Wake Nicodemus rhythm. So the transition seems to go naturally from the first theme, even though it's based on a completely different tune. I think that's brilliant. Towards the end of the transition, we hear a new idea in the violas, joined by other instruments. This is Q5, violas only.
59.
Seconds later, that idea shows up in the violas as an accompaniment to the second theme. So we'll start again at the pickup to measure 72, just the first 4 measures of that second theme. Everybody play, but listen to the violas.
1, 2.
Is carefully linking his themes together and linking the second theme back to the transition that just preceded it. So this first part of the movement, which is called the exposition, has 3 main sections: first theme, transition, and second theme, just like hundreds of European symphonies. Ives emulates Brahms in tying the sections together by continuously developing and varying his thematic material. But at the same time, all the main melodies sound typically American because they're all derived from American tunes. They represent 3 different kinds of songs that were familiar to Americans in Ives' time, used in 3 different situations: a parlor song, a hymn tune, and a college song. By putting them in a symphony, Ives infuses the European form of the symphony with melodies that are distinctively American, blending these 2 traditions that he knew and loved. The rest of this movement follows the usual path for a sonata form movement. After the exposition comes a development that develops and varies the 2 main themes, a recapitulation that repeats the ideas from the exposition, and a long coda, or tale, that develops all this material further and heightens the drama, leading to a very satisfying ending. But Ives borrows a trick used by several other composers. He introduces a new theme in the development. This is a slow hymn-like melody that actually alternates phrases from 2 different hymns. The new theme is in the first trombone at letter I, measure 137. Here's the first half of it. We'll hear the trombone.
Yeah. 137. Thank you.
The other trombones and the tuba harmonize, like a 4-part hymn or chorale. Meanwhile, violins 1 and 2 play the first theme from this movement in augmentation, meaning half as fast. Let's just hear the violins.
1, 2, 136. With pickups, yeah?
With the pickup, yeah.
Pickups to I, and 1.
At the same time, clarinets 1 and 2, bassoon 1, and violas play a figure from the middle of the second theme.
137.
Putting it all together, it sounds like this. So whatever you're playing, listen for the other parts. If you're playing the trombone theme, listen for the violins. If you're playing the violins, listen to the trombones, etc.
Hiccups to I. I'll give you 1, you're in on 2. And 1.
The trombones and tuba at that spot to play much more loudly. You're the main theme there. You're the new theme. And these guys are playing an accompaniment to you, even though it's the main theme of the movement. You're the main idea right here because it's new. So that was really gorgeous. That was really gorgeous. Development sections are usually dramatic, even wild, as themes play off each other and keys change frequently. And this hymn is quite different. It's a long period of calm with no change of key. What's striking here is not a drama, as in most development sections, but counterpoint. The way the main theme, the theme that we heard at the beginning, has been turned into a counterpoint, a counter melody for this new theme as it's being introduced. It's not dramatic, but it's a kind of contrapuntal climax, a climax of counterpoint. Just the sort of thing you'd expect from a professional organist like Ives was for 15 years. Soon after this, the drama picks up again, leading to a climax and the recapitulation, which restates the exposition with some changes of instrumentation, that is, who gets to play what. When the recapitulation leads into the coda, things grow dramatic again, starting with some new contrapuntal combinations. First, the second theme in the violins over the hymn tune theme in trombones and lower strings, and then bits of the first and second themes in counterpoint with each other. So again, listen to each other at this passage, which begins at rehearsal letter V.
329, V. Reveals something that he must have planned from the beginning. All three of his themes work in counterpoint with each other, even though each was adapted from a different American tune. That's an amazing compositional theme. One last thing, and then we'll hear you play the whole movement. It turns out that there are a number of places in the symphony where Ives borrows a little something from Brahms or from Wagner or Bach. These are not themes, but moments of articulation or transition. It's as if he's pointing out that what's most distinctive about each of the two traditions is different. So American music has nice tunes, but its simple forms like hymn tunes and popular songs don't have transitions because they don't need them. But a large symphony needs bridges between one section and another, and so it's full of those. In this movement, he borrows two of those moments, those bridge moments from Brahms. One is from the first movement of Brahms' Third Symphony.
a brief passage which Brahms uses to articulate the end of the second theme section in the exposition and the recapitulation. Ives uses it in a very similar place. He's just finished the second theme and he's ending the whole exposition and recapitulation. And he treats it in a similar way, introducing it in the strings and immediately varying it. Here it is in the first statement in the strings.
Strings only 126 and 127.
So that goes by really quickly. The other allusion to Brahms is to a passage in the first movement of Brahms's first symphony, where it brings the end of the exposition, and Ives uses it to close out his development, and he brings it back in the coda twice as fast, because he's always trying to outdo Brahms, right? He's a young composer. Both composers score it the same way in strings and bassoons. Here is Ives's version the first time, Q13.
186. Strings and bassoon only.
In both cases, Ives changes a few details and extends the passage longer than Brahms. If you know the Brahms symphonies, you may recognize these moments and think, wait a minute, that sounds familiar. If you don't recognize them, they still function as linking ideas, leading out of one section and into the next. In the same way that the themes adapted from American tunes help to give this symphony its American character, these moments link it to the sound and shape of European symphonies, and especially those of Brahms. Brahms wrote his symphonies during Ives's lifetime, and he died when Ives was in college. So he was almost a contemporary, obviously of an earlier generation. And as a former bass drummer in his father's band, Ives adds to the second of these Brahms allusions a drum pattern he must have heard and played hundreds of times, known as street beat, because it could be used to keep a band on the march moving together. Here it is in the bass drum, Q14.
Write it down. Ready?
Let's add the snare drum, Q15.
Second bar bell. Ready?
And here's everyone at this spot, as Brahms meets band music, symphony, and march join together, and Ives blends his two musical traditions in one amazing moment.
L, 1, ta, ta, ti, ta, ta. Try that one more time. We're starting at L, yeah? 1 and 2 and.
Today I've tried to demonstrate how in this piece Ives drew on American tunes for themes while integrating them into a symphony in the great European tradition, with a particular nod to Brahms, who was one of his heroes. He had a picture of Brahms on the bulletin board of his music studio to the end of his life.
And Franck too, right?
And Franck, but is not.
You're right, not right.
Along the way, he varies and develops his themes, linking each to the others through rhythmic and melodic motives they share and putting them into counterpoint with each other. By interweaving American and European sources in the ways that he does, Ives proclaims the unity of his musical experience as an American, familiar in both traditions. This music speaks to me, and I hope to you, in our time, when we can grow up hearing and loving so many different kinds of music and weaving them together in our own lives. So here's an example from more than a century ago. So thanks for your attention. With these small excerpts still in your ears, now let's hear you play the whole movement.
From the beginning. Just a reminder that if you have a turn and you have a half note, it goes on the second beat. If you don't have a half note, it goes right before it. Yeah? Match each other.
it's been a pleasure.
What a treat. Thank
you.
you. Applause for...
We're going to go to the cues for Sunday night.
We can. So,
very quickly.
Let's go over the cues. There are only 3 for the concert. We're not doing all the ones for rehearsal.
Do you have that cue sheet off?
Yeah, so it's at the bottom of your cue sheets.
I'll do some talking, which I will skip over, but you'll recognize these.
So we go until the second beat of 18.
Yeah.
So that really only affects the first violins. Everyone else just hang out on the half note at 18. Let's go from the beginning. Let's try this. Repetition.
So I'll say something like, he recreates the same melody in a new style so it works as a theme for a symphony, but he preserves the American character. Here's the beginning of the transition.
And don't play into D. Just C to up until D. Okay? Here's the transition. Here's C. Ready?
That's the problem with excerpts. It's ending them. That's the problem. Not starting them.
Just don't go on. And then third cue is 72.
This is the second theme, and it's shorter than what you played before. It's just the first time through with the oboes up through the second bar of the first ending.
So actually what I'm going to say here is maybe don't play the 4th beat of 83. Is that fine?
That's fine. Yeah.
So just finish out for first and seconds. Don't play the next little thing. Good, let's try this. Here's 1, 2. Super command. Lovely and warm. Between the shifts. Not rushing, serene.
Perfect. Lovely. Great.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
See you tomorrow.
You bet.
Okay.
What did you miss?
For now, let's stay on this for a couple minutes since it's fresh. Martin, whether I'm in 2 or in 4, you got to know where we are. If you miss rehearsal, that's no one else's fault. You have to know what's going on. Score study, okay? I think it's good for us. Sure? I think so. Yeah, no, it's fine. Thank you. Good. A lot of really nice things. I have to tell you something I decided. So, I thought we'd have more time to talk. I've decided that I love this music. No, listen, hear me out. I watched a couple documentaries and I thought, now I understand. So his dad, you know what his dad would do? His dad was trumpet player, band leader, all these things. He would play in one key, a hymn or some kind of folk tune, and make him sing in another key, and he would have to stay on pitch. So that explains this kind of bitonality sometimes, right? Why it kind of crunches. And you hear all these lovely tunes, right? Kind of weaving in and out. Obviously, the later symphonies have more cacophony, let's say, right? But like, remember when we listened to the last movement of this? It has this like grand finish, and you're like, oh yeah, this is going to just run right off the rails. And then this crunch chord at the end. It's like, why'd you have to step on it, you know?
but it's kind of shocking because you think, oh, how grand, how American, and then a little indicative of our current times, okay? Yeah, it's like lovely and then so great. There are a couple of things where this dam, ba-ga-dam, dam, the trumpets need to be up there. Bam, ba-ga-dam, bam, finish strong, and then we kind of, it's like this interruption and we kind of back to our regular program, yeah? Yeah. At the end, we need to match links. So flutes and oboes, you understand. Thank you for your don't dot the rhythm. Just dum, 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 dum. And the basses were right with you. Both times. Bravi. Absolutely fantastic. Fourth horn, always more. Bum, 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 bum. Match the dynamic of everyone else. Nathan, you're on first tomorrow for this. Okay? So you're here at the dress rehearsal, so welcome. Also, that solo is great. Bum, ba, dum, when we get to 127, it gets a little hairy because it's new material here. Yeah? Horns, when you have this business, this tune he was talking about, let me find it. At like 59, horns where you have those quarter notes, you have to listen to violas and cellos. Because what you're doing is pom, pom, and then it gets behind. Yeah? You're juicing it too much. Can we start from the beginning of this, and can we have a little more American spirit in the dotted rhythm? You have to hold on the note a little bit and vibrate. Yeah? Good. Beginning. Here we go. 1, 2, and. Match rhythm on we don't shortchange the quarter. Yeah, we sing through the quarter. And then this bum 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 bim. Those two eighth notes, there's so much space to do stuff we don't need in between. And then when we get to ti-ti-ta, ti-ti-ta, ta-ta-ta, what does he write? Ding, dun, dun. Yeah? So ti-ti-ta, ti-ti-ta, ti-ti-ti. The eighth notes can't rush, but they have to feel as if they move forward. Does that make sense? Oh, ti-ti-ta, ti-ti-ta. That feels too stentato, yeah? But here, oh, ti-ti-ta, ti-ti-ta, ta-ta-ta. It's not rushing, it's just active. We're fine to get into F. Really, at F, I go into 2. So negotiate where you are in the bar. You won't always have training look up 1, 2, 3, 4. You have to. And flute, I love this flute. Yam bam ba di da dam ba da. Oboe sing and have this sense of warmth. Dee da dam bam ba di da dam. Yeah. The grace note after I. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So dee da da dee da dee da dam ba dee da 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 dee dam ba dee da 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 dam. Okay. Can we try please at I? And sing the tune, yeah? Quick question, do any of you that started out not liking this music, have you turned the corner? Do you like this music now? Parts of, yes. Yeah, partially, which is good. No strings, oh, some strings? Oh, good, thank you, good. Here we go, here's I. I for Ives, 1 and 2, and. Think of it as 6/8. I need to hear more snare. It's this interruption again, yeah? L, please. We have to get into it 3 bars before. Really good up until there. Please follow the dim whenever it comes. Please don't just stay up. That's too easy. L, 1 ta pa I ta ta. 3 4, 1 and 2 and. Getting into N is not so easy. Dee da da dee da dee da pam pam pam. Do you see that? 2 before N. Good work. 2 before N. 1 and 2 and. apologetic. It sounds like, oh, I'm not sure about this rhythm, so I'm gonna hide and just kind of apologize. No, it's forte. And actually, we need to hear more of you than anyone else, because they just have harmony, yeah? Mark that. 223, getting into that. Also, please don't rush at 219, 220. Ti de di ta I ta ta tam di bam 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 ba. See that? Good. Making the solo sound so good. Be careful, 215 of the printed E off the tie. Just know exactly where you want to place that. Okay? Good. I think all this other stuff is fine. We need to do the end. Please mark again. R comes back. Pianissimo for first and second violins. Not after the first note, subito dynamic. It is pianissimo right at the downbeat. So mark that before. The quarter notes at 268, where we have them the first time with horns and violas, that was great. Just do that the second time. Luckily, a lot of this repeats. I have to tell you something. At 281, I heard two different versions that were interesting, and I talked to Dr. Burkholder, and he said, no, what you guys are doing is right. So Dudamel does flutes and oboes together only one time through, so you just take the second ending. Bernstein just takes one or the other, I can't remember which, and then just takes the second ending. So it's good that we're doing both. Because I have a thought today, let's change it. When you get the tune at the end, low brass, and I think horns have this, the big chorale, it can be kind of like Havanas. Yeah, it can just lift a little bit above the rest of the orchestra. And the triplet, don't belabor it. Dee, ding, bam, bam, bam. Just really lovely. Not too much deviling. This rhythm at 347. Da, dee, 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 dee. You have to know how to get out of that. Okay, can we try getting into W? Here we go. Two before W. E, da, e, da, yam, da, da. That was good the second time. Two before W. Two, and. Don't make it crazier than he already is. Two before W. One and two and. You guys are doing 4 plus 3? Can we try 3 plus 4? Can we just try that? 1, da, da, beep, ba, 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 bam. Can we try? So this is how that happens. There's a little bit at the end. Okay? The last 8th note is long to make sure we hold space. Okay? Let's go X, please. This sounds a little frenetic. I will not do it in 4. Okay? Those days have passed. X, 1 and 2. And Yeah, so keep it 3 plus 4. Does that make sense for everyone? Let me hear strings. No winds and brass. This is X, just the strings. Here we go. 1 and 2 What is it? Can I hear you do that last bar before? 1 and 2 and. Yeah. Don't get to the top note too soon. Hold the note right before. One more time. 1 and 2 and. This is bar 366. 1 and 2 and. Yeah, something like that. Just fudge whatever is hiding the weeds in the trombones, okay? Good, can we try this ending and then we gotta move on? Z, I wanna try it in 2 together. Okay? Z, 1 and 2 and. Yeah, more trombone. Here we go, Z, 1 and 2 and. Make sure we have enough bow to hold that tenuto for a little bit longer. Okay, good. Now let's go to Verdi. Verdi, thank you for your flexibility. We thought he was coming at noon, not 10. more crescendo, and then the bottom has to drop out of the piano. Everyone plays too loud, and pianissimo, you're playing mezzo forte at best. I will shut you in the concert, or wag my hand in your face. Be quiet. That tires me out. I love when we get, you guys crescendo like your life depends on it. Total difference from last week where people were playing. I've thought about that all week. I wish I could live my life that way. Just a little bit. But don't get to the next downbeat too soon. You give away the secret. I'll give it to you. Do you have it slurred or separate? Yep. You have a separate, good.
Oh, yeah.
Make sure that that's really great. I need to hear more trumpets and all that stuff. And then when we get to this business that happens at più animato, yeah? This dun 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 stop on the downbeat. Ding 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 so you make space for the 16th. So we hear that, yeah? Don't run away. Those of you that have quarters, which is tuba. Then trombone, second and third trombone. After più animato, keep that steady. We need to go back and hit one thing. Well, wait, one thing at L that we just don't get is we squish the notes. Third horn, Nathan, are you covering for right now? You're actually on third horn? So make sure all this business after L that you know where to come in, which is yes. I think we were in the right place actually. Yeah. But you add just one more bit of, force of destiny here. Please mezzo forte at J. Just mezzo forte. And then when it's piano, really love that piano. And then the forte 2 before L and the brass blooms to that forte. It's not a pow. Okay, good. Be careful, I think it was fine, but after C, when trombone, bassoon, cellos, basses have it can get really lugubrious and really overcooked oatmeal in 2 seconds. Yeah? Follow the tune. At B, first violin sound very tinny and very timid. It's just like a little bit of wind, but spooky wind. Stay in it, not one phrase, yeah? Pizzicati, thank you. I felt some of you that were like, no, we're going wherever you go, but everyone else was like, no. Boom, boom. We should have that flexibility. Yeah, it's easy. First and seconds, I need to hear you before tempo primo, before B. 4 bars before tempo primo. We'll do this a couple times. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Good, let's find it. We got it? We go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Good, we're not matching articulation. Listen to one another. Don't come up with your own. Don't improvise. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It's so exposed that it has to sound that good or better. So please look at that. Don't just leave that to chance. Winds and brass, I need you to be with me. And timpani too. Just everyone compact as possible. Bam, 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 bam. And phrase to the downbeat of tempo primo. Don't just play them as separate downbeats. Yeah? Bam, beam. That D sharp is ominous. Good. Beginning was good. Be careful. Remember, we have 3 tries each time. We have this bam, 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 but it has to be equal and even, and trumpets are the most. Okay? So it's not a time for a crack. It's not a time for a flub or anything in between. Your page turns. You know how this piece goes. Please, for the love of all things holy, do not turn your page in a moment where you know it's going to be silent. Don't empty. Yes. No solos for spit valve. And then Noah, do exactly what Subin did. It's a full chord. not too loud when no one's playing. Da da dee dee da dum. Okay? Even as it starts to crescendo, you have to hear him. Maybe it gets a little louder as you go on. Okay? Good. Questions, comments, concerns? Ravel.
If you start on time, then you don't have to rush. I think that's so true, right? People don't start on time and they're like trying to catch the train. Just start on time and then don't rush. Okay, beginning. Beginning.
Thanks, Selena. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. I started to slow down, you're like, no, I can do this. And Hannah just staying right with it. Exactly, just following along. Good. I feel a little bit of insecurity within our rhythms that are hemiola-esque. Bum, 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 beam, 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 bum, beam, beam. We're rushing. It's not our style. Okay? Remember. And also, horns. Really good. Really good. That's much improved. Trumpets, same thing. A lot of really great stuff. What you have to know is at the end, if it's too fast and you have those repeated notes that are not the tune, don't hold on to them so much. Change at the bar, right? No one will know. It's just a kerfuffle of noise, right? That's really what you want to do is texture. So don't belabor that too much. Bass drum is too much. 1 before 4. 1 before 4. Wait. 3. Ready, 3. Sorry. Do you see that? Yes. So I know it's fortissimo, but just, you know what we need is for, ooh, you know, something like that. When we have 1 before 4, we rush into that. So you have to let everyone finish the verse. So just hold that a little bit. Good. I always need to hear more second part. And I start to panic, and I don't like to panic when I don't hear you in boom, beam, boom, beam, boom, beam, boom, beam, boom, that stuff at the end. So I just need to hear that, okay? And actually, Amber, memorize it so that we can just look right at each other, okay? Good. Some of the held notes after 9 are a little wonky. Be careful. Cymbal, be careful. It got better at the end, but it was a little too fall down the stairs at the beginning. Very, very, very light. Please mark at one of the, we have plus long at 18. That one's fine. It's this one right before 20. Somebody moved to the 3rd beat on the 2nd beat. You give away the secret. It's a long one. And there's a rallentando even in the plus long. That one holds for forever. 1, 2, pom, good. Isaac at the end, timpani is great, and then it goes to piano, but I think you actually need to bump it up a little bit. Where is that? You know what I'm talking about? The big bum, and that was great, and then the others can be a little more, I feel. First and second violin, you have to have your violin up after 29. I can't look over and I'm about to give you a cue and you're like, and then, because then panic comes in the sound, yeah? Okay.